Okay, so we are calling the meeting to order at 6:08 p.m. And we are doing roll call.
So we have no items under roll call item A. Committee members, Horton,
Here.
Khalil,
Here.
present. Chair Dennis
Here.
and Zoltowski.
Here.
Do you have to note that have committee members Highsmith and Kohut Carr are both absent.
Okay. So we did roll call, launching the items. So approval of the agenda.
I move.
I'll move.
Okay, who was that?
Alex.
Who's that?
Oh, Alex, you can move a second?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Thank you.
Are there any public comments?
There are none, anybody on, no one's present.
Okay. No one on, no public comments, great. Okay, we can right through this. Approval of the minutes, by the IDEA Committee, minutes of August 21st, 2024. Can I get a first?
A first, Alex.
Thank you. And a second?
Second, Carol.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Great. And the minutes of August 21st, 2024 are approved. So on to old business. Day in the park planning.
All right, so for those of you who don't know, the Day in the Park is a community festival here in Brisbane. It's a very popular event. It's held usually the first Sunday of every first Saturday of every October in the community park. And it's usually from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. or whenever the wind starts blowing out of the park. Okay, and usually IDEA, just, recent years, IDEA and other city groups have been tabling. And it's a really good way to get community feedback and stuff like that. So we, at the last IDEA meeting, the group discussed launching a new IDEA survey, and the survey would be kind of like a launching pad to our work plan for the 2025 year. So today we wanted to get some clarity on this IDEA survey, particularly around what is our main objective for the survey, and two, who are our audience? Who is our target audience for the survey? In the past, we've done like community surveys, about like holidays. We also have done like a community survey at Day in the Park, but it was mostly responded to by kids because they wanted the little treats on our tables. So we have a lot of feedback and youth feedback, which is great, but we thought it would be great to really be kind of more tactical and strategic about the audience that we want to reach out to for the survey. How many people, different types of groups that we want to target, and really what is our clear objective for these, and that will help kind of shape the survey questions. And lastly, I'll likely also need the help of the events committee to kind of meet one more time to develop the survey together. Okay, so the question would be, one, let's talk about the objectives first. Like, what is the main objective this group wants in terms of having this survey launch at, Day in the Park.
So what kind of, even though I know it was mostly like the kids, but what was the feedback, before?
Oh, the results of the previous surveys.
Yeah,
Well, one was like a holiday-based survey, and the second one was kind of, I guess they had to spin a wheel, so depending on what it landed on, they answered that question, but mostly about events and events that they would want to see in the future.
okay.
Can I ask a question just about format? Because sometimes format is everything. So I heard, I think you said that this was not like, here's a survey, fill it out. It was different, more free form. Is that correct?
Yeah, in the past, it's been kind of more informal.
Okay, and is that the intention now? Because that sometimes guides how you structure your objective and in fact your audience. So I don't want to overcomplicate it, but I'm just curious what the prior
Yeah.
conversation was.
I think what we wanted to do was really use this as like, the launching pad for our work plan for 2025. Whatever that is. We kind of started to do a work plan, but I think in order to have like real like a real foundation to the work that we do for next year, we really need community input. My thought was it would be a survey that could be disseminated to a larger group, maybe a couple of hundred, just to get a real diverse group of people to get their opinion on. And I was thinking that it could be a QR code, and the Day in the Park would be just like one of many times that we could solicit feedback. So I was thinking it would be kind of more electronic or paper, or just a regular paper based, so it'll be easier for people to fill out.
I think that's a great idea, but there's also been other feedbacks in, I don't know what you'd call it, the community paper that's coming around too. That I certainly filled out, like Safe Streets and a bunch of other things. We could not, unless the idea was to couple it to Day in the Park, which has a whole lot of other frankly interesting things going on, not that this isn't, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's a lot of,
Yeah.
we're probably not one of the most sexy things, and the kids are jumping around
Yeah.
and things like that, so maybe could the group consider having this survey as part of the Brisbane communications that go out? Certainly could be electronic, same way, QR code, anything
For
that you
sure.
wanted to do. That would make it easy, and then we could do something different in Day in the Park, just a thought.
Yeah. What's the deadline for, everything has to go in the Star of this? So that would be fun.
Like, this week, but we're gonna still work on October Star early next week,
Okay,
like Monday. But we generally put off the 15th of every month
okay,
for the next month's issue, because there's printing and
yeah,
everything
that's,
and mailing.
yeah.
So we could put something in, for October to align with Day in the Park, or if you think it's something that doesn't need to be, but it could work. We're the ones that put it together, so.
Yeah, that's in the group.
And I think too, the length of the survey also matters a lot, like, probably need really specific and targeted questions that are gonna like glean the feedback that we want. And it sounds like basically what we want is maybe to know like, maybe how are we doing? What can we do better? Those type of things. What would you like to see, at Day in the Park? Just off the top of my head,
Okay, so I'm the new kid and I'm sorry.
but no.
I'm known for having a big mouth, so here I go again. But, we have and this is all about diversity, which is, you could slice and dice it any way you want. But questions, we should maybe try to consider questions that are not as broad, because we will get just a bucket of stuff. So if we could somehow come up with questions that maybe one question or two that target unique groups. I'll speak for, maybe we could talk about the older folks, what you know, what are we doing? Could we do something better? We could talk about, various ethnicities. What are we doing? Could we do better? I think we're gonna have to tag them for groups to get meaningful feedback, I think,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
I think that would be good. So that's just an idea of the structure, but I like the idea of putting it in the star, because I do think, although, you know, it's like relatively hurry up to get it for your cutoff of the 15th. Kind of, I work in corporate America, believe me, that's a long time that you have. For me, when I think about it, you basically have a month, we have a month to generate it, right?
Oh, for the, November,
Yeah,
we don't have to rush it for.
well, not for
For
November.
November or
Well, if you
October.
wanted to make
Yeah.
October, we're not gonna make, we can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're done for that, so that's, forget
We
that.
probably-
Sorry. Forget that idea, it's a good idea, but
Mhm.
if you wanted something, we couldn't,
Well,
unless you just don't wanna do anything.
We could do the we could build the QR code and we could develop the.
Right, if we print the
Oh.
QR code and get
Oh,
people
you have a
somewhere,
sign, yeah, okay.
then we can have a couple weeks to actually put something onto electronic survey.
Okay.
And
I
the
mean,
star
I
comes
think-
out October 1st, so, yeah,
But you're right, or you were thinking about like a tearaway, like survey.
Almost anyway, you know, you could, I'm not an expert on QR codes, but usually if you zap them, so to speak, you
mhm,
know, that it reads it and you go somewhere with it, it takes the data and goes somewhere. But that's about all I can
yeah,
intelligently
we
talk about.
can fashion, like, stand up a web page on our site and have people go there and start building it.
Well, I think that's an idea, or if you wanna do something a day in the park, you could have a poster that had a QR code on it. And
Mhm.
people get really curious, cause they wanna know what the QR code is supposed to be,
Mhm.
so you could have them do it then and there, I think.
Yeah, we've done that
Mhm.
last year.
You did, okay.
Mhm.
Was that well received? You get enough people, or is it just,
Again, there was a lot of kids, but there was some, looking at the results from, this is actually the
I think there's only,
2022.
Two
feedback.
questions that they answered, right, like. Or did that's it,
To, of how many, like,
I forgot.
that's why
Yeah.
it needs to be short, but I also think it needs to be like this multi-pronged approach. Because everyone doesn't do the QR code and,
That's
you know,
true.
everyone's not gonna do paper and, you know, it's just, you gotta kind of reach
Yeah,
the
Everybody where
different
they're at,
age groups,
yeah.
yeah, like they're not just, I know for me, sometimes my phone it just doesn't acknowledge QR codes. It's not happening,
yeah.
and other times it does, you know, so it
Okay,
just.
so these were the questions from last year.
okay, that's good.
Okay, so we wanted people to answer our questions, and if they answered one, then they got a 15% off coupon to Betsy, which is our Etsy store
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Brisbane merch. And so the first question was, and they spun the wheel, what does IDEA stand for?
Mhm.
It's kind of trivia. When was the IDEA committee established? What do you want to see IDEA work on in the coming year? How many IDEA events have you been to? Which festivals do the Festival of Lights commemorate? Another trivia question. What's the IDEA committee's next event? What hashtag is used at IDEA committee events? And which year did Brisbane get certified as an age-friendly community? We had 10 responses on this electronic format. So it's not really a survey, but just to get people the
Right.
answers to
Right.
give
Yeah.
them the coupon.
Last year we did the wheel, right?
Right, and they
Yeah.
spun the wheel, they answered the corresponding question.
I
And
think
then
it's like, wait, maybe there's an opportunity to use this, Ingrid, to your point earlier of like more of a input and guidance on our work plan for next year. And so if we, I don't know, like if we come up with a few, like, what would you like to see us do, versus how do you think we're doing? Because I think still, I would imagine not many people know that, like, what we do or that we are a thing. And so if we say like, what are the things you would be interested in going to? And I know we've been talking at the last meeting about the film festival, the short film festival. And so maybe there's a like, what topics would be interesting to you to see? Or I don't know, something that's like, but I think, Anna, to your point too, that it's like, let's be really targeted and
Mhm.
have people I don't know, yeah, I don't know. I think there's just an opportunity to get feedback, and also it's difficult because there's a lot of different booths that day in the park, and so how do we draw people in? But I love the idea of the QR code and then putting it in the star later so that we're getting more than one source of info
Right.
as well.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
I do like the questions. I know it's always fun to ask the other ones, but maybe if we have that, if that worked to spin, because people think that's fun, we should have these targeted questions on them
Mm-hmm.
and then see what happens. I think, I don't know, it's great to have the fun things, but they're still gonna get their little, I would
Coupon.
imagine their little coupon, no matter
Mhm.
what they do. But we wanna make sure that they answer something meaningful.
maybe they get a raffle ticket if they,
So we've done a raffle
answer
at
the
the booth
survey,
too.
and then, you know, we give them a certain time frame to answer the survey, and then, you know, after they do the survey and they get the raffle, then there's a time when we announce, you know, oh, number such and such, you know, and then just have maybe, you know, 3 prizes or something that, you know, will encourage people to want to answer the survey and to like complete it.
Yeah.
But are you thinking a paper survey, or are you thinking of a electronic, to your point, that not everybody, including my. Yeah, I was really liking the love with QR codes, but they're
Right.
very functional.
Either, you
Either,
know,
okay.
whether it's paper or, you know, the QR code, just that we can confirm that they are actually or have taken the survey. And, you know, then they get the raffle ticket. I think that would kind of get the numbers up.
I like that. Yeah, we can definitely have the hard copy versions of the survey
So
that.
you're suggesting they would complete this, say, like, let's just say it's a hard copy,
Mhm.
right then,
Mhm.
and then give it to you, or
Mhm.
whoever it is.
Or drop it in a whatever.
Yeah, whatever, okay,
Mhm.
that would work,
Yeah.
you know, I think.
Still have our rainbow wrapping paper box.
Mhm.
People dropped
Yeah.
raffle tickets in last time.
Right,
Okay. So we just need questions.
How many,
right.
how many people?
What?
One more time, Ellen.
Looks like Layla has her hand up.
Oh, yeah, sorry,
Hi,
Layla.
thank
Go for
you.
it.
Oh.
No, I just didn't want to cut in the middle of the scare everyone, the conversation. It's happened to me before. Um, in terms of the incentive to get people to fill out the surveys, I know you mentioned you've done raffles before. Have you seen that has in fact encouraged people to fill out or participate in surveys?
In my world of federal government, yes, because they're about food and prizes, so it is
100%.
very effective in my world, so.
No, I am with you. I think I was just referring to like within Brisbane in the community, has that been effective? Because I was thinking if it is, perhaps every person who does fill it out, whether on paper and they get like a confirmation number or something, or the QR code, then they can get a confirmation as well. Maybe we can connect to the local businesses and they can get like a gift card for a certain amount of money to go like either to the coffee shop or to the store or to Melissa's, and that would help
Oh,
the
yeah,
community businesses too. That's just off the top of my head popped up, so wanted to throw that out there.
no, I think that is great. We have a lot of community partners who, I don't know, Caroline, what do you think, would be willing to maybe donate something, a gift card, but yeah, I think that's always a draw.
Yeah, because if it's like, okay, fill out the survey, you get a free taco from Melissa's, for example,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's kids, I'm sure they would love that. So
I wonder too, I think to some of the earlier point about like not everyone's into QR codes, is there a way, and this might be getting too technical, but it would be really interesting to know like what percentage are replying through the QR code, what percentage are replying through the paper, and we can use that to inform our like future outreach efforts. And I think we had talked about, I forget what it was, but something about like tabling at the farmers market as well. And so just like it might be helpful to have a sense of where we're actually engaging with people and who they are.
Yeah.
I think ideally too, we would want to find new ways, because I love that we have a presence that day in the park, and I suspect that those people are already pretty engaged in Brisbane. And if we really want to think about like how do we reach new community members or community members that haven't historically been interacting with what we're doing, or with, you know, with Brisbane in general, like how might we reach out to those folks as well?
Mhm.
Well, that's why I think putting it in in the print letter that goes around is a good way to at least augment what you're asking, because there are people that just don't go the day in the park, period. You know, it doesn't even matter about the age demographic, they just don't go.
Well, and it would be
But-
interesting to see, oh, sorry, keep going.
Anyway, that's all, that's why I'm a big fan of the little newsletter that comes out.
Right, it would be
Even if
interesting.
even if it's post hoc,
Mhm.
the actual meeting.
Who's answering through the star versus who's answering through an in-person
Uh,
event.
But what kind of things do we want to ask? Maybe that would help this discussion.
I do think that, I don't know, the thing that keeps coming back to me is, you know, like you said, Alex, what would you like to see us do? But before that, because you mentioned too, like maybe a lot of people don't even know really the
Mhm.
idea committee and what we do. So maybe that's at the top of the survey, like what we do. And then when they kind of get a sense of that, then what would you like to see?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I would agree. We also need to know in the survey their demographics as well as we can. Some
Mhm.
people don't want to give it when you can't make them,
Yeah.
but age and certainly, you know, what they consider their ethnicity would be helpful. Unless you wanted to drill down more, but we're not really needing to do it that. We don't need that much granularity to know how we can adjust our programs.
How about gender?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's not the easiest thing to do. Not that we shouldn't, but it's just not that easy to address, given that it already comes with a big granularity anyway. And if we're prepared to do it, then ask it, but
I wonder too, if even, you know, like asking about, race, you know, is that a turnoff to people? Particularly if we want like targeted specific questions. And then I think too, from that kind of, what do you want to see, you know, you could maybe glean
okay.
to some extent, you know, based off of what people want to see. You might be able to, you know, kind of get some information from that. It's an assumption, but, yeah.
Maybe we could decide what are we most interested in? Do we want to, you said there were a lot of kids, so there's nothing against kids, you know, but.
But we won't have as much candy and fun things for them.
Right, but we
To
could,
draw
but
them.
if we want to know how to balance our answers, maybe age is an important one, so it's maybe for us to decide, you know, to your point about race, and I don't care, it's sort of the standard thing everybody asks.
Mhm.
Do not want to ask, you know, what's your gender, all that stuff, you know, people always ask that. But if we just care about age, then we just write what we're interested in doing. And that, in a way, is maybe putting the cart before the horse, because then we could decide what actually next year, what this year we're gonna do. Relative, we're gonna concentrate on age, we're gonna concentrate on gender, we're gonna, know what are we gonna do?
Mhm.
Which is not getting us closer to the answer of what the question should be, but.
Also socioeconomic status, I think, too. So another part of the diversity that's, I'm always curious.
But how would you ask that? I'm just so curious. Short of
I
saying,
would say.
your salary above or below,
I
I
would
don't-
say, I guess some people do it through like, do you own your home? Do you rent? Do you?
that stuff.
But then at the same time, in the Bay Area, it's
hard to tell.
It's hard to
I
tell.
mean, I have to tell you, the prices.
because the
for
rent is so
renting
high.
houses,
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it used to be like, you know, it was cheaper to rent, but I'm not
Mhm.
sure
These
now.
days now.
Yeah, I think it might be helpful to focus in on what we want to glean from the survey. And if it's
Mhm.
really around like planning for the next year, maybe just focus the questions on what do you want to see? Anna, to your point, the way people respond, maybe we could get some information, but if we want to do like a demographic survey of Brisbane, that feels a little bit different. And maybe,
I
and
agree.
maybe you can have a like section at the end, like I feel like a lot of surveys are like, if you want to, like add this information, that's fine. Um, but have it, I think we might be moving away from what we're actually aiming to get out of it by adding a lot of other questions, because going back to the like some of the initial comments too, like the longer it is, the less likely people are to complete it. And so maybe we just pick like 3 or 4 targeted questions and then that's it.
I like that. Yep. And too, we can do, multiple surveys, maybe, every 4 months or, and maybe have it targeted a little bit differently to get, if we're really trying to get at something specific like demographics or, socioeconomic status, but I know me personally, I like quick surveys. Just boom, boom, boom. Yeah,
Mhm.
and so,
Get a gift card.
yeah, to the point of really knowing what we want
Yeah.
from the survey. And I guess this is a question, do we just want to kind of know, like, because when we look at our calendar of events throughout the year, do we really just kind of want to know, like, do we keep these? Do we try and add in more things? Are we trying to kind of like adhere to the diversity within Brisbane? Like, that's kind of, I think, what we want. And so maybe we can tailor the questions somewhat to that.
I mean, in the past, we've done a lot of events,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe one question should be around events, like, would you attend an idea like sponsored event such as the ones that we've done in the past? We can list out, like, we did something for the Asian American Heritage Month, for Diwali, we partner with groups for Diwali. Day of the Dead, like, there's a lot of different ones that we've kind of, as resources were available, like, dove in and did it.
Right.
But is that something that they care to see continue? And if it is, then we can devote some more time and energy for events, maybe different ones every year, but so that we can cover some this year, some other years. Otherwise, there's a lot.
Yeah. And some events would just be like every other year, right? Versus-
Right, it doesn't have to be every
Yeah.
year. Mhm.
What was your biggest attendance for an event that you had?
Must be the Stand with Asians rally.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, it was timed at a very, I think, perfect moment where people wanted to
That's
stand
okay.
together.
Right.
And our event was kind of in the beginning of this peak of all these vigils and marches happening in 2021. It was in February, February 2021, so early on.
So
That was
like
500 people
500,
in the
Wow.
park. Yeah,
that's great. That's
the
really
event
great.
price just kept on having to be increased because we maxed it at 100, thinking 100 would be a great turnout.
That's a great,
Because it became a community, like a local community.
Right, it
outside
wasn't
of
just all Brisbane, but people were just like, where can I go? It's close, and they came in droves.
There
But
were a lot of
generally,
people
like,
that came to the Asian American Pacific Islander event too. And that felt like there were a lot of people that came to the AAPI event. And that
Right.
felt like quite a robust event too. I mean, we had Layla, to your point of like we had a lot of local vendors that were donating, and so we had a lot of raffles, and there were like quite a few different components to it. It seemed to attract a lot of attention.
yeah, that was 2022.
The following year,
Yeah.
I mean, we know there will be those staple events, right? Probably like that one in Diwali and,
Diwali, I think for sure will be a
Yeah.
staple. just because there's other groups that are helping
Mhm.
to organize.
Right.
There's like a whole little planning committee and ideas, like just
Mhm.
one of the many parts, and so it works.
Right,
Very nice.
right. Mhm. Well, I know just, personally, this is a little bit off track, but in working and speaking with Nicole in Park and Rec, I mean, that age group, that's kind of like 18 to 23.
Right.
She's really gaining some good momentum on that. And so, like if I were filling out that survey, that's what I would be saying, that, hey, I want to see more
Mhm.
events centered on, this age group. And just,
Yeah.
but I think she could actually kind of bring that to fruition. So I think, looking at maybe the things that we're not covering over the year, maybe kind of where
Mhm.
we just want to kind of see what's missing, where are the holes, where do we
Yeah,
really be looking at?
that could be a question, right? Like,
Yeah.
what do you think idea isn't covering that you feel is important
Right.
to look at?
Well, the other end of it, the work that we do is events and also policy work, so
Mhm.
even like within the policy,
Yeah.
really assess from the survey.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. What holes? Where are the holes?
What are we missing?
And then Alex had, what would you be interested in seeing?
Almost the same
Kind of.
question.
It is almost, huh?
Yeah, it's almost the same question. And it's just about, I think, crafting in a way that
Mm-hmm.
people are like, I would really like.
Well, I guess we could just.
Well, I think it might be nice if we can offer like a multiple choice answer, because an open-ended
Mm.
question might be more hard, like more difficult for people to be like, I don't like, what could you do? I have no idea. And so if it was like events focused on specific heritage, like something like that, or like to the policy point, like having some sort of like illustrative example of like something like this. And then we can use that to say, oh, people are really interested. They would love to see more of these events that are like celebrating different heritages. Or, oh, people really want to be challenged to rethink their biases or something, like just having some sort of guidance on like choices rather than being like, what would you love to see? If people don't understand what we do, it might not be helpful.
I like that.
Did you ever do anything with literacy?
No,
Across
that's-
age groups?
No. But that's,
Literacy
the
in terms
library is
of,
something.
Literacy is not in terms of anything, just in terms of reading. There may be people, young and old,
Mhm.
that are embarrassed that they can't. And if you don't ask, you don't know.
The library now has a program that's
It does
tailored
have a
for
lot
that.
of them.
Mhm.
Okay.
But I love Alex's suggestion about like kind of listing them out so that it's just multiple choice. I want to see more events. I want to see more,
Mhm.
whatever. So I think that is really like drilling down these targeted and specific questions to kind of get, again, our plan of kind of how we move forward. I like that. That was spot on.
Anything to help them get through it
Mhm.
quickly, right? And moving
Right.
along to all the other booths
Right.
that'll be next to us.
Really simple.
Mhm.
So yeah, maybe, 3 questions like that
questions.
and just, that should be like a good push.
And then optional demographics at the end, not required, but if you want to.
Sure.
Mhm.
yeah, that would be interesting to see.
As long as you have an intro paragraph or a couple sentences in the beginning about what the committee is. Because they may not know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You could copy it from something else. I mean, you don't have to create it anew. I'm sure there's something written down.
Or on brochure.
Mhm. Yeah, we can grab something from our website.
Great.
Webpage.
We got some direction on that. That's
Right.
good. Perfect.
Thank you.
Next, the United Against Hate campaign.
Okay, so United Against Hate, for those that are unfamiliar, it started in the city of Berkeley, and it's grown to be very regional, where cities have, you might have seen the signs around town, Brisbane stands United Against Hate, but like every city and community in the county has their own versions of them. So we had them at the end of the park actually last year. The week itself was moved up a couple months this year because it usually was taking place in November, but there's things happening in November. They wanted to move it up earlier, so it's starting on Saturday until the following Friday, so 21st to the 27th. It's kind of late to do any event around it, but I was planning to be at the farmers market to table. We try to get out there once a month, so I could have the posters, so people can have them, the cardstock posters if they wanted to hang them, or just put them up and take them when they're at the farmers market. I could do that. You wanna stop by, so we're gonna be probably between 3:30 and 5. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Saturday, come on, yeah, I think that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Try and create some
I think people
weirdness.
really like those posters, and we can print them so that,
Mhm.
yeah, they're nice and fit cardstock and, put out some information about, tell them about IDEA, and kind of, we'll be up the day in the park.
Mhm.
Look for a survey. But I'd love to get a photo too. Did we talk about, last year we had photos at the end of the park of IDEA committee members holding the
Mhm.
posters, but I plan to do that if, any of the IDEA committee members want to come by the booth, or I'll take it of any of the committee members too that would like to, pose for a quick photo.
That's next week, right?
Now tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
I would be up for that.
Okay,
Yeah,
is that Layla?
it is.
Okay. I'll see you.
All
See you
right.
at the market.
You can make stickers smaller.
Make stickers? Yeah, or like window things, but we're kind of late.
Just smaller, so it doesn't have to be.
Oh,
Oh, are you
great.
giving out?
I was just gonna, yeah, give out posters. Mm-hmm.
What
Next year.
time, Carolyn?
So the market starts at 3, so we'll probably be out there around that time, 3 to
Let's see what I got.
5, 3 to 4:30, around there.
Okay.
I'm just checking to see what's happening tomorrow, sorry.
Yeah, I apologize too, this is
No, it's nothing to.
kind of just snuck up.
We have like fiscal year end stuff happening.
Oh,
or
yeah.
it's just
It's the end.
beating everybody up. So,
Yeah, it's like the end of the day where you wanna like wrangle everyone, huh?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Well, maybe after this meeting, we can get a picture. Let me just run across the street and get one.
Sounds good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to be considered tentative because I have a call.
All right, we're taking a picture after. the meeting.
Okay.
Okay. That's the direction for staff. Wonderful. Announcements.
Announcements. Well, first announcement is welcome to our new members. We got Carol, Layla.
Welcome.
Both of you, I'll be in touch with doing, we'll provide more information about your city emails. And also, I'll provide more information about getting together for an orientation, because there's a lot of, logistical things we just need to go over. And Brown Act rules and
Yeah,
all of
sure.
those things. So I'll set those up with you guys one-on-one. I wanted to share, see if you could see this. Just the things, IDEA committee save the dates. So ongoing, I'll provide one-on-one orientations with new members.
Mhm.
We have another member, Pita, she's gonna be actually, she's abroad on business, so she'll have to kind of give us she'll try to make the October meeting.
Okay.
But she'll join us then. But so September 19th, like we said, United Against Hate tabling. Is that right?
Yeah.
Then we have October 5th, Day in the Park tabling. And that's at the community park, and that's from 10 a.m. to 3. So we'll provide a sign up sheet for people to help with the tabling that day. Unfortunately, I won't be able to join you. I'll be away for a family function. And then October 16th is our next idea committee meeting. We have a sponsored event, October 27th, Diwali at the library from 1 to 4. And then we also have our next idea committee meeting on the 20th. I was hoping to invite the council members. I was hoping that the 16th will be a meeting where we can kind of finalize our work plan, or have a draft of our work plan and go over it. And the 20th, I was hoping we could schedule that with our council member liaisons to kind of give them a sneak peek of what we're proposing for the next year and what kind of support we would need from the liaisons of the city council. So that's the tentative kind of a schedule for the rest of the year. Just wanting to see what members think about also the proposed cancellation of the December 18th meeting. Just because it's so close to
I'm
the
for it.
holidays.
I gotta say, it's just gonna be,
Yeah.
a lot going on in December.
Yeah.
At least on November 20th, I think Thanksgiving is like later, so it's like not until
Oh, yeah.
November 28th.
Mhm.
So I think that's okay.
Yeah.
And then the proposed cancellation for the 18th. And we'll get back together in January. Oh, gosh, this is 2024 is just went by so
Flying.
quick.
Yeah.
So does that work for everyone in terms of the schedule?
It's the 27th, a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
It is a Saturday. And who's, I mean, are you just saying that that's the event that this committee runs,
Oh, sorry, the 27th is Sunday. My
Okay.
apologies. So the Diwali event is planned by
Oh, I see that.
Mothers of Brisbane has a Diwali like planning committee.
yeah, oh, okay, yeah. I know
So
what
they're the
that is.
ones-
Okay,
An idea is helping to sponsor the refreshments for that event.
which means what, making them or?
No, they're
giving them-
going
or just
to, yeah.
Be like a hospitality
it.
chair, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the one thing that's not in there that I can include is the Festival of Lights, which we'll get
And the,
member
Member
announcements. So
yeah.
what date is that again?
December 8th.
December 8th. So that might be the last, another event that I can include in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I might be available on the 27th, I mean,
It's a really fun
are you
event.
sure?
Yeah, festive, there's dancing, there's gonna be, yeah, good music, good food.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't, but I could certainly act as, if it requires sort of a hospitality function, I don't mind doing that. I'm pretty sure I can do it.
Okay.
To volunteer. Do they need volunteers at the event?
Well, we're gonna have a table outside the library where
Oh,
we
yeah,
have our
okay.
Betsy merch set up, because it's the
Oh,
Betsy merch
okay.
that helps to
Okay.
be able to sponsor their food.
Well, I'll give myself a tentative. Let's
Okay.
just say, there's just a couple things in my personal life that I'm not quite sure about, but, sure, if it's a Sunday.
Mm-hmm. I'll probably, be there. So, I'll be there to make it.
That's cool. Sounds good.
Great. Are we on member announcements now?
Yep.
Yeah, we don't have Miyoko to do an H family update. But just, I was gonna say, last time we talked about the active adults, print brochures that were made available. They were, Nicole, and Park and Recreation created, it was, I think, 4 pages, so, back to back, and it had all the events just for adults and older adults. And those were
Oh, cool.
printed and made available to those that visited City Hall, visited the community center. The idea committee had suggested bringing some to the pool. So some were brought to the pool, of course, the Sunrise Room and the library. So I think about like 25 were printed, like a small run. is to,
No, I think that's a
Try
great
it.
idea, sure.
yeah, so every quarter when they do the activity guide, they will have an active adults version. So they do something similar to for the youth when they go to the schools and
Mhm.
like back to school night, they have
Mm.
just back to back of school age events. So that's kind of an age friendly update. But the next one is the fun one. Yeah, the Festival of Lights Subcommittee meeting. So Nicole wanted to extend thank yous to Layla and Anna for joining that again this past Monday. It was a
Right.
very
Day
short
before yesterday.
yeah, turnaround. The commission scheduled it last Wednesday at their meeting and the meeting was happening the Monday after, but thanks for being there and
Sure.
yeah, do you wanna give any updates on how that went?
I think that went really well.
Mhm.
There was a lot of, creativity in the room, lots
Yeah.
of thoughts about how to, really make it, I think, no pun intended, but brighter and bigger. You know, how to kind of manipulate the lights to just,
Yeah, and the focus on like peace as a theme
yes.
to really
peace.
unite,
Everyone.
yes,
Yeah.
and trying to have less of the focus. I mean, everything is like the caroling and the tree is definitely like
The main
screams of
staff, yeah.
Christmas, but they're trying to kind of extend beyond and mention about like the hashtag We Are Brisbane that we use at our idea
Right.
sponsored events, like maybe they can pull it off of doing a big light display of We Are Brisbane.
Mhm.
And I'm like, do you need a wall? He's like, no, it's easy, we just freeform it.
Oh, wow.
They're professionals. I know.
Using the building across the street
They
at the
want
skate park.
to use that to
yeah.
show maybe, was it the peace posters?
Yes.
That the Lions, apparently, like two members that were at the meeting, Julie Sims and Jojo Martin, who is the lighting expert.
Mhm.
They're both Lions members, and I guess the Lions International have a peace posters, like
Oh, neat.
contest, and like
Neat.
kids are making these drawings, and they're all to do with just peace, and so being able to display that on a canvas, like the building next to the skate park, is
Right.
another,
Oh,
they're gonna
I
look
see.
into.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as you come in around the bend into Brisbane that night, that's what is gonna greet you.
Mhm.
So it's
They
looking really
used to
nice.
have on those, I'll call them pine trees, conifers, right before you got to the state park. And now I know one went down, but they used to string wires or rope across and used to have a banner on there, at least when they were talking about music in the park. Is that out of the question now that one tree went down? It's only a longer rope. It depends on how heavy it is. for your
Where is the
posters.
poster hang?
Right as you come in, on the
Uh-huh.
right-hand side, there's a building, right before you get to the state park. And they used to have a banner about when they had the music in the park, and they
Uh-huh.
say August, whatever it is, and that's where they hung it.
Over Old County,
Yeah.
like the street? They hung
No,
it-
against the building.
Oh, they hung it against the
The
building.
tree, if there were trees, and there used to be another one, but that tree went down. And I don't know, like, I'm not an arborist. How long the rope would have to be, but, or how heavy
Uh-huh.
these posters would be, but you
Mm,
can't miss them as you come in, because that's where you look as you're coming sort of.
yeah, well, I
around.
guess the signboards are serving that purpose now to
Mm.
kind of put out a message at
I
that
know,
site.
it's hard
different
to
though.
see those, I have to say, the signboard, but anyway.
Yeah. Can make it a little bigger.
If they're experts in lighting, I'm not.
The other thing that Nicole mentioned, and you can help me out with this, Caroline. So the wall, inside of the picture thing that they have, the home, they wanted ideas maybe that they could use to give a different background. So I
Oh,
guess,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, like the fireplace?
Yeah.
Yeah, they call it
Ah.
like their photo booth and it's
Yes.
like two 8x8,
Right.
like plywood and it's decorated to look, last year it was decorated to look like a 70s, like
Right.
hunting cabin.
Mhm.
And then they were open if IDEA had any comments about what
Different
the
backgrounds, yeah.
decorations could be for this year, then they love
How about
to
peace
hear
in
them.
different languages and can we do that, something like that already?
That's a good
I
idea.
like that. Oh, that a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you would.
They're
I mean,
working
there's-
magic with those lights. I'm sure you
Right.
could probably do it, right? Peace signs in different languages. It's beautiful.
Or you could maybe have the kids do something. If you wanted to make a real banner. You could paint peace in different languages.
Mhm.
They got a lot of kids that can do
Mhm. Or they could just bring it out of the eighties and make it, maybe something more futuristic, just.
I think it sounds like they have a lot of artists that were at the Visitation Valley Light Festival last year
Yes.
that they're not doing that this year. So there's all these artists with their exhibits that are willing to bring them and set it up in Brisbane.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So there's gonna be like stations, there's gonna be a map of like where to go. It's very dark, but all their
yeah.
lights, it's gonna be more easy to find and visit all the stations, know what they are, cause yeah, you just have to put light and people just gravitate, he was saying.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I like that Nicole had this list of kind of like, where they can improve.
Yeah,
And it was like, better lines for the hot cocoa and less cocoa, but so the people would like
smaller
feel
cups.
it, it's just like, oh, wow, that's very specific. Less cocoa in the cups, more lines, just so.
Oh, and a senior or an older adult line.
Right.
Yeah, so
Right.
they can get
And an
like an
express
express,
pass, right, yeah, so
Yeah.
they,
less waiting.
it should really be stellar this year, so.
Wow.
Layla, you're at the meeting. Did you have any more um things to add from Monday's meeting?
Yeah, first of all, I'm really excited to see, to be part of the event, see how it'll turn out. It sounds like it's going to be incredible. The pictures from last year alone look amazing. I really love the message of peace, and I think what I added in was just the aspect of humanity and bringing people together and reminding everyone that, we may come from different backgrounds, look different, speak different, whatever it may be, but those differences are tied into our commonality of all being human. And I think that's something that, everyone can resonate with, along with the message of, peace. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well said.
Yeah.
I was thinking if they can't do languages, maybe they can do songs playing in the living room. And it's a photo booth. But people kind of like hang out there, but it's good to also have not just the
Audio.
visual, but audio.
Yeah. So like songs of
Peace. I mean,
these songs. I like them too.
Yeah, and there was the mention of having different locations to use as photo stations because the Santa Claus station can get a little bit congested.
oh yeah.
So I remember them mentioning doing like it was a hashtag. What was the phrase? Was it "We Are Brisbane"?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, having that, and then maybe
People
they
can
can do
choose
another. Yeah, people could just
where
have
they wanna go.
make use of the different decorations and maybe try to turn them into photo stations.
That's cool.
Yeah.
People are good at doing that.
That's true.
Last year there was also like a flash mob of what song? They just like parents just
From
coordinated.
Brisbane Dance Workshop.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Just coordinated like a flash mob. It's really fun.
That's cool.
It's like lots of stuff.
The
Exciting.
glow in the dark tape.
Well, so Caroline, will you be like kind of
Yeah, I can pass on to Nicole,
perfect?
the suggestions from the idea committee.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Great. Anything else before we adjourn? Wonderful. Okay, so the meeting is adjourned at 7:03 PM.
Look at